So welcome back guys to another video, and I thought for the day's video I would do a little discussion and talk about games I can no longer go back to. Now what do I mean by this statement? You guys know I love gaining memories, I love looking back, and I love nostalgia, but nostalgia can only do but so much. There are games out there I enjoyed and I had great memories with that I can just no longer pick up. I'm just done with it. I'm like, you know what? This game's retired. And I know friends who will play a game and when they beat it, it's retired. They won't pick it back up, and I'm not like that to a certain degree. There are some games I still pick up and play, like Super Mario World. I have to play that every Thanksgiving, or Super Mario Brothers 3 I play every Christmas. That's just a tradition of mine. But let's talk about the first game, alright? The first game is going to be Final Fantasy VII. And why Final Fantasy VII? I love this game. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy in the series, but it's definitely in my top 3. But I've played this game so many times, I can recite the dialogue front and back. The only time that I've actually picked it back up and played it recently was when they released it on the PlayStation 4 and on Steam. I actually got both copies and I played it on the PS4, and it was kind of nice because they added some things to it, like you can fast forward through different cutscenes and random battles, and it just makes it a lot easier if you're like a veteran player and you're just trying to get the story and just trying to get that itch. I really like that. But Final Fantasy VII is a game I cannot go back to. The only time I'll probably go back to Final Fantasy VII is when they finally put out the remake. And of course there are some games out there that you enjoy, that you have fond memories with, but they just have not aged well. One of those games for me would actually have to be Super Mario 64. I have to say Mario 64 is not my favorite Mario. It's probably in the bottom of my top 10. I'm not a huge fan of Mario 64 to begin with, and you know, going back and trying to play it, it's very clunky. I've even tried to play it on emulators with, you know, using like a PlayStation 4 controller. I've tried to play the remake on the DS. It's just one of those games that were great for its time, but I can't go back to it. The same game in that caliber is, you know, Mario's competition, and that is Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. I played on the Dreamcast, I played on the GameCube. It's one of my favorite Sonic games, but the controls, the camera, it just has not aged well, and I can appreciate for what it is and what it was, but I just can't go back to those two titles at all for those exact reasons. And you know what? I love this series. I cannot wait to play the remake of Resident Evil 2, but I cannot go back to a lot of the early Resident Evils, especially, you know, Resident Evil 1. The tank controls have done its part. You know, I cannot do that anymore. And, you know, for anyone who hasn't played a Resident Evil game, I honestly would recommend the HD remasters of the original Resident Evil, and, you know, to play the Resident Evil 2 remake. I feel like there's nothing wrong for someone to be introduced to the series in that caliber, and you can go back and play the old games if you want to, but I feel like if you have never played the game, you've never played the series, I don't see a modern gamer enjoying tank controls. I mean, I can no longer enjoy it. And the last one may surprise some folks, especially because of the genre that it is, because I don't talk about first-person shooters a lot. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of folks who are watching this cannot imagine me playing Halo, cannot imagine me playing, you know, Call of Duty, and I had a moment that I was playing a lot of those games, and one of my favorite first-person shooters on the 360 was Borderlands 2. I enjoyed this game so much because it had a great solo campaign. I loved going in co-op with my friends and doing missions and collecting loot. I remember my friend Devin and I, we beat Borderlands 2 together, and the thing is I enjoyed it, but I've never been able to pick up the series back again. I never got into the whole Handsome Jack games or the Telltale games, or I never went out and got the HD remasters. It was like I played it and I was one hit, one quit, I was done. I was like, you know what, that was a great experience, but the game is retired. But anyway guys, I thought this would be a great discussion video, and if you have a game that you enjoy that you can no longer go back to, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. As always guys, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and as always, happy gaming.